Oh wow, Snow White flopped. Who is surprised? You cast arguably the least genuine, most out of touch, and disliked person in our industry.
It's the most emotional experience that a person can go through to know that what they're working on is something that has reached.
Horrifying CGI, little people, check. A feminist princess who don't need no man, double check. Diddy dance party at the end, double diddy check. All this to say, go see Snow White right now.
Let's address the elephant in the room. I'm the hottest person in the world.
Oh my God.
You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that backward story of 7 dwarves living in a cave to get what the are you doing, man?
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
You know, I don't need your business. You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film.
In today's video, we dive into the jaw-dropping downfall of Rachel Zegler from rising Disney darling to the internet's most controversial princess.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
This truly is the worst casting, maybe, in the history of the film industry.
You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White, right? You should shut.
The star, Rachel Zegler, is unbelievably charmless in public.
She just sounds bitter and...
What happened to the $270 million Snow White remake that's now being called Hollywood's most spectacular flop?
Nobody is buying tickets to see Snow White.
Because Snow White is a historic flop, and that's a good thing.
This movie ended up being a nightmare for Disney.
Why did The Simpsons brutally parody her in Snowwoke?
Excuse me, your curtain. Please allow me to help.
Help? From you? Spare me your white savior complex.
I didn't mean to offend. I just thought you should know that
That I should know what? That some privileged white guy thinks his opinion matters? Get over your entitlement.
Really sorry, I was just trying to be kind.
Kind? If you want to be kind, disappear, stalker. You're weird. Weird.
And how did a feminist twist on a classic fairy tale spiral into a global PR nightmare?
Say, if I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
Oh, really? Are you having trouble paying your bills, Rachel? Did Steven Spielberg not pay you for your role in West Side Story? Did Disney fail to give you a healthy paycheck for, cry me a river? She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
Box office disaster and personal crisis.
Can we spend 1 minute on Snow White and how it totally imploded at the box office this weekend?
Alex, what has been the reaction to Disney's latest expensive own goal?
Absolutely horrible. It is the worst box office from a Disney live action remake that they've ever.
It got destroyed at the box office. Here's the box.
I never wanted to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
We're talking shocking behind-the-scenes drama with Gal Gadot, a viral dog emergency, fake AI scandals, and even rumors of Rachel fleeing to Dubai.
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it.
There's tension, betrayal, and a possible career crash that no one saw coming, or did they? Stay tuned, because the real story behind Disney's biggest failure is more unbelievable than fiction, and it's not over yet.
I think, honestly, really excited for the incredible technology that we've incorporated into the film, and most of the time when we're making it, we have no idea what it's going to look like, so I'm excited to see it as a Disney fan, and I feel like
Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
Weird.
Like, who has been the most exciting person for you tonight?
Oh my God.
Besides, took the words out of my mouth. Besides, I'm a narcissist.
Rachel Zegler's career is crashing faster than Snow White after biting that infamous apple, and the internet can't stop watching this Disney disaster unfold in real time. The $270 million live-action remake has become Hollywood's most spectacular failure in recent memory, with The Simpsons even creating a savage parody called Snowwoke: The Reimagining to immortalize the debacle.
This is no ordinary apple, my dear. It's a magic wishing apple. A wishing apple? Yes, one bite. In place of the patriarchy, you would have a queen! Not white, but diverse, inclusive, and equitable! I know I can be! All shall love me and despair!
Springfield's animated mockery features a character based on Rachel who bans princes, lectures villagers, and watches her movie bomb in an empty theater before melting down on Krusty the Clown's show. When America's longest-running animated series turns you into a punchline, you've officially crossed from celebrity to spectacle. The box office numbers tell a brutal story. While the Minecraft movie raked in $60 million on a single Saturday, Snow White managed a pathetic $2 million, getting absolutely demolished by pixelated blocks. With an IMDb score that collapsed to a devastating 1.6, one of Disney's worst ratings ever, the film is reportedly still $96 million behind its massive $270 million budget. Industry insiders project Disney could lose between $200 and $400 million on this feminist fairy tale flop. It's so bad that moviegoers actually documented themselves walking into nearly empty theaters. I am walking into Snow White, 2 p.m. Now seating. Let's see how empty it is. I hear a couple of people. 1, 2. Okay, 2.
I am walking into Snow White, 2 p.m. Now seating. Let's see how it...
And it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
She proudly declared her modernized Snow White is not going to be saved by the prince, and instead, she's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no prince or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. Yeah. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. But it's one of those things. So true. It's an inner journey that she goes on to find her true self, and she meets a lot of people along the way that make the journey really incredible.
Fans weren't impressed, with the sarcastic hashtag #GirlBossSnowWhite trending online for all the wrong reasons. Rachel's combative attitude toward criticism only poured gasoline on the dumpster fire. When questioned about fan backlash, she snapped, "If you disagree with the sentiment, then I don't need your business."
And if you disagree with the sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
This dismissive approach didn't exactly win over skeptical audiences. As one industry insider put it, behind the scenes, you guys know as well as I do that those executives like Spielberg are looking at that saying, Rachel Zegler can fuck right off.
Behind the scenes, you guys know as well as I do that those executives like Spielberg are looking at that saying, Rachel Zegler can F right off.
The situation got even more uncomfortable with co-star Gal Gadot, with viewers noticing their painfully awkward interactions. During press events and awards shows, when they presented together at the Oscars, fans observed zero chemistry and very little interaction.
Visual effects push the boundaries of what we see on screen.
Their work makes the impossible seem possible.
With breathtaking ambition, they create magic that wraps its arms around our wildest imaginations.
Here are the nominees for Best Visual Effects.
The tension reportedly stems partly from political differences, where Rachel posted a Free Palestine message shortly after a promotional tweet about Snow White, creating friction with Gadot, who is Israeli and served in the Israeli Defense Forces.
My name is Gal, and I'm Jewish. Isn't it crazy that just saying that, just expressing such a simple fact about who I am, feels like a controversial statement?
Disney reportedly sent an executive to personally ask Rachel to remove the post, but she wouldn't, as if the professional disaster wasn't enough. Rachel's personal life has turned into tabloid fodder. She reportedly broke up with her actor boyfriend Josh Andres Rivera amid the Snow White fallout.
But it's hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
More recently, her beloved dog Lenny suffered a mysterious health scare, with Rachel making an emotional plea for help online. Unfortunately, even this personal crisis became ammunition for critics, with numerous social media users mocking her desperate call for assistance. The backlash was so severe that Russell Brand surprisingly stepped up to defend her, arguing that the non-stop criticism has spiraled far beyond reasonable discourse.
When I said those things about Snow White, right, like, give her a break, that poor lass out of Snow White. I know what it's like to have like smoke blown up your ass 24/7. You weren't in any films. You were nothing. You are Scott. Do you think like Do you know where I come from? Do you know where I come from? Do you know that I've been a crack and heroin addict? Do you know what I've lived through? Do you know what I've lived through? Like, do you think that I can be busted up with, like, get him to the creek was not as successful as Titanic?
In a desperate attempt to escape the firestorm, Rachel has gone completely silent. No interviews, no social media, nothing. Multiple sources report she fled to Dubai, raising eyebrows about what exactly she's running from and trying to protect.
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it. All right.
This dramatic vanishing act came just days after Disney reportedly asked her to pay up for the Snow White disaster and canceled all her scheduled media appearances. The studio's abandonment speaks volumes about how quickly Hollywood turns on its stars when the box office numbers turn red. The controversy over the Seven Dwarfs, or lack thereof, became yet another flashpoint after actor Peter Dinklage criticized potential stereotypical portrayals of little people. Disney replaced most of the dwarfs with magical creatures while keeping one token dwarf. This attempt at progressiveness backfired spectacularly.
You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that backward story of seven dwarves living in a cave. What the f are you doing, man? There's a lot of hypocrisy going on, I gotta say, from being somebody who's a little bit unique. I was a little taken back by they're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah.
But you're still telling the story of Snow White,
yeah.
Seven Dwarfs.
Sure.
So take a step back and look at what you're doing there. It makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that.
With critics arguing it actually erased representation rather than enhancing it. As one commentator put it, there's power of being on TV, and to put 7 people with dwarfism on camera in a major Disney movie, there's still power there. If the story is offensive, change the story. Don't change the characters. Disney's live-action remake strategy, once a reliable money-printing machine, now faces serious questions. Snow White was supposed to be the safest bet of all. The 1937 original is literally the company's first feature-length animated film, the foundation of their entire empire. Its spectacular failure suggests audiences have reached their limit with modernized reimaginings that seem more focused on political messaging than magical storytelling.
I think people relate to Snow White, first of all, and it's a happy film. It tells us one thing I'm certain of, that you can have anything you want if you want it badly enough. But be very careful not to step on anyone's toes on the way up, or you may not be able to keep it very long. Think before you speak or leap. This is what I think Snow White is teaching us. This is what I got out of it.
Some industry watchers believe Rachel might be eyeing an unexpected career pivot. Rumors have circulated that she could potentially replace Jenna Ortega as Wednesday Addams, though this seems highly unlikely given her current toxic brand status. More plausibly, she's taking time for serious reputation rehabilitation before attempting any comeback. At just 24 years old, Rachel theoretically has time to recover, but Hollywood's memory for disasters tends to be much longer than for successes. The creative choices in Snow White have been universally panned. Critics lambasted the extra musical, numbers that are incredibly unnecessary and absolutely atrocious, particularly after Disney deleted the classic Someday My Prince Will Come in favor of a modernized feminist alternative. One reviewer brutally summarized the film as having an identity crisis, being extremely leftist on every political dimension on racial politics, sexual politics, class politics, regime politics, with a narrative that was cowardly and just awful. The situation took an even darker turn when a fake OnlyFans account using an AI-generated image of Rachel went viral within hours. Though completely fabricated, thousands believed it a disturbing indication of how far her public image had deteriorated. When a completely absurd rumor feels plausible to the general public, you know your reputation has hit rock bottom. Mental health concerns have entered the conversation, with some commentators questioning Rachel's stability. One particularly harsh assessment stated, "I truly do believe that there's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism feminism and the patriarchy, and about abortion. But the reality is she's just not stable, like the majority of people in Hollywood. Others criticized her victim mentality. Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim. And that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. The good news for Rachel, if there is any, is that she was recently spotted with her dog Lenny after his health scare, suggesting at least that personal crisis has been resolved. This brief public appearance marks one of her only sightings since she essentially went into hiding. Looking considerably less glamorous than her red carpet days, she kept a low profile while walking her recovered pet, presumably hoping to avoid any further public inspection. Snow White's failure couldn't have come at a worse time for Disney, which has faced criticism for an inconsistent track record with its recent theatrical releases. Following disappointments like The Marvels and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Snow White's failure adds to concerns about the studio's creative direction and financial decision-making under returning CEO Bob Iger, who was brought back specifically to right the corporate ship. The film's massive budget, reportedly around $270 million, makes its failure particularly painful. For context, that's more than many studios' entire yearly production slates. The extravagant CGI for the magical creatures that replace the dwarfs, elaborate set pieces, and expensive marketing campaign all contributed to this astronomical figure. Now Disney executives are left wondering how a story as universally known as Snow White, starring their most iconic princess, could possibly lose hundreds of millions of dollars. Interestingly, while Snow White crashes and burns, a film called Y2K has been receiving considerably better reviews than its Rotten Tomatoes score would suggest. This contrast highlights how audience reception increasingly diverges from critical consensus, particularly for films that touch on politically charged topics. While critics may reward certain messaging, viewers are increasingly voting with their "wallets a lesson." Disney is learning the hard way with Snow White. The longer-term implications for Rachel's career remain uncertain. Projects that once highlighted her name have reportedly gone quiet, and casting directors are allegedly looking elsewhere. However, Hollywood loves a comeback story, and with the right project and a significantly humbler approach, she might eventually rehabilitate her image. The key question is whether she'll learn from this experience or double down on the combative attitude that contributed to her downfall. For now, Rachel appears to be focusing on personal matters rather than career resurrection. Her public plea for help regarding her dog's mysterious illness revealed a more vulnerable side that contrasted sharply with her defiant Snow White persona. "I'm trying to pull my hair out." Rachel Zegler issues plea for help amid dog Lenny's mysterious illness. While even this moment of genuine distress attracted mockery from some corners of the internet, her recent appearance with a healthy Lenny suggests at least one chapter of her ongoing drama has reached a positive conclusion. Disney, meanwhile, faces difficult questions about their live-action remake strategy. While films like Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King performed exceptionally well, recent entries, Samiran series, have shown diminishing returns. The studio must decide whether to continue this approach or pivot to more original content. Snow White's failure suggests that modern reinterpretations have limits, particularly when they fundamentally alter what made the original stories beloved in the first place. The Rachel Zegler Snow White saga serves as a cautionary tale for Hollywood in the digital age. What began as a young actress expressing her perspective on updating a classic story spiraled into a career-threatening debacle, complete with box office failure, public mockery, and even a Simpsons parody. In an industry built on fairy tales, Snow White's unhappy ending reminds us that not all stories conclude with happily ever after, especially when the poisoned apple is a controversy of your own making. Perhaps Rachel will look back on this experience with regrets, but for now, she joins the ranks of Hollywood's cautionary tales, a princess whose crown fell off before the ball even began.